Patriotism sells. Patriotism very much sells, yes.
Stallone. These two ads tell the story. The first one, all action.
I'm coming to get you.
Now the patriotic pitch.
For our country to love us as much as we love it.
A salute to the spirit of America.
Somehow with these kind of films you win. Some of the other films about Vietnam, we don't.
Rambo tries to absolve us of any Vietnam guilt.
He's trying to get back his own dignity and regain the pride that he once had and shed the guilt. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish in this film, that these men have nothing to be guilty for.
Some critics feel that the film might be helping Stallone deal with his own guilt. He sat out part of the war in Switzerland with a 4F. America was forcefully reminded of Vietnam this year on the 10th anniversary of the war's end, not coincidentally, just a month before Rambo's release. All those painful images of the war were brought home again. To the young, it was a perplexing glimpse of an era they never lived through or really learned about. Suddenly, there was Rambo to spell relief, justifying feelings of revenge and retaliation. Astutely tailored, critics say, to the Reagan years.
Sure, this is a movie that Reagan applauds. It whips the audience up into the old us against them fever. And if he wanted to get the mood of the nation behind an attack on Nicaragua, I would show this movie as a recruitment film.
Editorial cartoonists seem to love to caricature Rambo's image. Here, President Reagan is dubbed Ronbo. This cartoon suggests that Rambo might be the right response to Nicaragua. Images like these might please the soldier of fortune crowd, but the militaristic messages they mask infuriate many Vietnam veterans. They say that the movie distorts history and its lessons.
I came out of the movie. I came out of the movie feeling exploited as a veteran. I came out of the movie thinking that this movie exploits America.
Dr. Charlie Clements, an Air Force Academy graduate, flew combat missions in Vietnam. Today, he and other vets are mounting a nationwide reality versus Rambo speaking tour.
We're going to show American youth the reality of Vietnam, and we're going to ask them to make a choice that we didn't have. We're going to try to differentiate between the glorification of war and the horrors and ugliness of war as we experienced it.
Further incensing critics, Rambo's promoters used actual news footage of real POWs coming home, lending credibility to the movie's fictional POW rescue. Pseudo-news features and emotional documentaries like this were packaged and distributed nationwide to provoke alarm about POWs ostensibly still in Vietnam.
It's probably the last link of the war that remains unsolved, and it's also the most painful.
But a leader of the families of the MIAs was unimpressed with this advocacy posture.
And I feel that it's being exploited. In fact, I resent using our men that are under these tragic situations for the purpose of making millions for the movie makers.
The New Republic magazine also debunked Stallone's widely held view of the POW issue, challenging the movie's premise as phony. Writer James Rosenthal.
My conclusion is that there aren't any American prisoners of war in Vietnam, that all the evidence in the defense establishment, Congress, everybody, is that there aren't any. There are few people who say there are some prisoners of war, but they don't have the evidence, and they don't deal with the issue responsibly. Neither do these movies like Rambo.
And the Vietnamese, portrayed in Rambo as the incarnation of evil, insist they are not keeping POWs. After viewing the film at our request, one of Hanoi's UN representatives called Rambo a joke that's not really funny.
If from people, I think that they cannot appreciate this role of Rambo because this role is created on sheer fabrication and misinformation.
The Vietnamese also say their soldiers do not wear World War II Japanese-style military uniforms. Other critics denounce the racial stereotyping in Rambo that has already had domestic fallout.
Boston Mayor Ray Flynn is urging...
The Rambo controversy is no longer just about POWs.
In the wake of recent violence against Asian immigrants.
In Boston, in the week that the movie opened, there were 2 violent incidents involving attacks on Southeast Asian refugees by groups of white youths.
The Vietnam War is being fought in the streets of Boston.
Peter Kiang, an Asian community organizer in Boston, puts part of the blame on Rambo.
when the kids go to see movies like Rambo, they take those images, those stereotypes back with them to back home to their neighborhoods. And when thinking Asian life is cheap, it doesn't take much then for them to trash a Cambodian's car, to invade a Vietnamese family's home, to call someone a goof.
And what of Rambo's blast at government policy?
Do we get to win this time?
How to win the war with one individual like Stallone? Be fantastic.
But he's Rambo.
Yes, even with Rambo.
Stallone has defended his film's politics only in print. He brushed off criticisms in Time with the comment, "So it's a right-wing fantasy." He told the New York Times that his politics flow from his emotions and that he's not well-versed politically.
I think the film has become a political film, yes, because the feeling around the country that this film gives them, it elates, it gives them a feeling of victory.
Ah, victory. That's been Stallone's middle name for years. Now that Rambo, has triumphed over Vietnam, he has bigger fish to fry. His next movie, Rocky IV, is already being teased in the theaters. It takes Cold War movie making to an outrageous new level. Rocky takes on the Russians.
Rocky IV. Get ready for the next World War.
But when Rocky wins his World War, he'll be back. Yep, there'll be a Rambo Part 3.
I wonder if this Rambo movie is really a message of America, as Stallone likes to say, about communists and patriots and so forth, or is it a general human reaction, a thirst for revenge that shows up in drama? They have the hero take a bad beating, and then the hero rises up and defeats the baddies. That's the structure.
The pattern of the old cowboys and Indians movies. And now we understand that the perception there was a bit skewed. The Indians were always the bad guys and the cowboys were always the good guys. And we know that that's not true. Here, though, the critics are raising in advance the issue that there's something really political here, and maybe that's what is selling the tickets. Maybe he's touched that anti-communist nerve.
Yeah, he certainly touched the nerve with the veterans and the MIA families who think he's not on target with it. It's very interesting. Thank you, Sylvia.